Roots of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. If you are new here, welcome. It's really great to have you. Remember that you can follow on the social media pages such as Facebook at the Root of the Science podcast or Twitter and Instagram at the Root of the Sci pod. Also, remember that turn on your notifications on wherever you listen to your podcast, be it Apple Podcasts, Google, or Spotify. My guest today is Caleb Munemo from Zambia. He's a second-year computer science student, and in this episode, he explains that he developed his passion for science in secondary school. Caleb admits that he was not sure that he wanted to go into computer science as a field, as it was not a well-known field of study in Zambia until recently. After following people who are in the tech industry and reading, his interest grew. He went on to apply for a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. At the same time, he started advocating for STEM by mentoring and training young people at his former school. Caleb is a co-founder and president of Science Exploration Zambia, a STEM-based NGO that established e-learning platforms for learners in the country. Further, Caleb is also a host of a podcast called A Zambia of the Creatives, a podcast that talks about STEM and how we can raise creatives through implementing STEM concepts in school. Tune in as we hear about this work, the root of his science, and of course, so much more. Let's go. Hi, Caleb. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Anna.
How are you doing? It's so lovely to have you on today.
I'm all right. Thanks. I'm actually excited to feature on this great podcast.
Fantastic. I'm really excited to have you here. So first things first, let's set the scene. Who is Caleb? Where are you from? Where are you currently based? Just in brief.
Okay. So like you've put it, my name's Caleb Munemo, my full name's. I'm from Lusaka, Zambia. Yeah, I'm currently a student at the Cavendish University, second year, pursuing a bachelor's degree in computer science. Briefly, that's about me.
Okay, great. So, Caleb, before we get into the science, I always love to get to know people away from the science. And in fact, you are a huge soccer fan. So, first things first, who do you support? Let's say internationally, who's your team?
Okay, so internationally, definitely that has to be my country, Zambia. So yeah, full-time supporter. But when it comes to international teams, it depends if it's European team, South American team, but mostly because I really love Lionel Messi, so I find myself supporting Argentina. But if it's Europe, usually supporting Spain. But when you talk of club football, which is actually the best football in the world, like the football that we all give the most attention, I support Arsenal, and I know people have got different feelings when it comes to Arsenal, but yeah, that's my football team. That's the team that I support. I really love soccer. I do punditry stuff on soccer, give opinions. I'm not just an Arsenal fan, but I'm basically a football fan. So I give different opinions on the game. And from there, I've come to learn a lot about football. And it's just an interesting sport. You get to learn a lot. You get to know the dynamics of the game. And it's full of crazy stuff, but a uniting sport and a very, very good experience.
Yeah. Okay, that's really great. I laughed at Arsenal because my dad is also a huge Arsenal fan. Wow. So he's also going through, So we hear it a lot, all of the things that you as Arsenal fans go through. So that's why I'm laughing. Yeah, but quickly, just for somebody who doesn't know, what is a football pundit? Like, what does that mean for somebody who doesn't watch football? What do you do when you call yourself that?
Okay, yeah. So football punditry is all about these are experts that analyze the game, basically football, where you give takes on how the game is played, formations, talk about statistics. You look at how good a player is as a pundit. You'll be able to tell whether this this player is good. As a pundit, you'll be able to tell the best formation that the coach could play, or the best formation that that particular team could use for them to get the best results, or the type of players that the particular club or team should be targeting in the transfer market. So that's all about punditry. Okay, punditry is vast and wide. But these are some of the main components that are involved in punditry, the things that I've mentioned. Yeah.
Oh, great. And I mean, people make a career out of this. So, hey, if all things fail, this is something that you could do.
Yeah.
This is something you could do.
True.
Because I can hear you're very passionate about it.
Very passionate.
Which is cool. I've never met somebody who calls himself like a football pundit. I mean, you hear guys watch soccer. Oh, let me also say girls before somebody comes at me. Guys and girls who watch soccer, and they, people sit around and they have WhatsApp groups, and they have, so just to say that you're officially calling yourself, and I feel very lucky to be like, yeah, I've met one, because I only see them on TV.
Yeah. But even people that are found in these WhatsApp groups, like people that give opinions, what they don't really understand is that that's punditry in itself. So you don't really have to belong to a particular sports organization for you to be recognized as a football pundit, or maybe some sports news agency for you to be a pundit. But punditry is basically you giving an opinion in the game through analysis and just looking at different things that relate with football build-up and a whole lot. So that's punditry in itself, but people don't realize that they're doing punditry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we are learning here today, Caleb. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm learning as well. Yes. So as we get to know more about you now, we understand that you love football, but you mentioned that you are also studying computer science. You're currently in your second year at the university. So I want to just hone us back to the beginning, right? And this other facet of yourself as a computer scientist. How did you actually get into science? Is it something that you always knew, this is what I'm going to do, or was it something that kind of just happened?
Okay, so basically, like how we are raised in our country, the school setup didn't really, get to build that passion of science in you. But, when you get intrigued by certain things, you always want to find out how certain things happen. So on my end, I would say the passion for science started when I was in my secondary school. I'd also say a basic school, because I was involved in a bit of science projects, and I loved science while growing up. So from there, when I went to my secondary school, that's when I got to develop my science passion. I was part of organizations like the JETS, Junior Engineering and Technicians and Scientists. These are clubs that are in school where you get to have, you do quizzes, you different for exams. So that was sort of interesting. And it put me in a space where I was like, I really wanted to be amongst those people that were considered as the brainy ones, like the ones that would want to find out, the ones that would want to ask the question, why is this thing like this? Why does this thing do this? So that type of a thing. So I got really interested, and I was in JETS, and then from grade 10, and then later on participated in some projects, did a project in grade 10, and also in grade 11 did a project, in grade 12 sat for Olympiads in chemistry. I wrote Olympiads at provincial level, and in that same year I became the president of that science club. So I really developed passion for science, and I was like, wow, I really want to do to pursue a career in science. By then, I wasn't even really I didn't know that I was going to do computer science, because, computer science broke through in Zambia. Like, it became the norm or the talk amongst youths should be the last 3-4 years. It wasn't really that popular, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so it became a popular course even amongst ourselves. So by then I was saying I'm going to be doing a course like applied chemistry or chemical engineering, because I really, really loved that subject, and I was someone that did very well. And so I really had ideas and helped a lot of people come up with projects in that field. So that's how the passion started. I started reading a lot, started following people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, a lot of people that are in tech field, tech giants, Bill Gates. Started reading a lot, started learning about programming languages, reading about programming languages, started looking at schools like MIT, Yale. So you get to a lot of incredible stuff, especially it is sort of like the factory where you get the best engineers in the world today. So I'm seated there looking at that, and I'm like, okay, wow, that's great. And from there, I just decided to say, okay, I really want to be in this field called the tech field. I want to be part of the tech world. So that's how I really got interested into technology parts of science, and then started saying, okay, I made up my mind. I want to do a degree in computer science. And yeah, it is at that same particular stage that I also started advocating for STEM, and did a lot of training and mentorship on science, technology, engineering, mathematics to most of the youths and young ones that were at my school. Because I left my school in 2017. That's when I wrote my final exams. And I was the lead of the school. I don't know how you guys call it in your country, but here we refer to that as the head boy. So I was the head boy of that school, and it was sort of an inspiration for most youths, because they would look up to me and say, wow, you're a leader and you're so passionate about jets, you do a whole lot. So even the time that I had written my exam, I was actually privileged to be called by the school to go do some training sessions with the guys again. So we did training sessions where we helped them develop projects, and they did participations in the science fairs in that particular year, and did very well. They won. We did that with my friends who we actually co-founded Science Exploration Zambia together with. So we did quite good and won at provincial level, and actually had some students going to the national level. So for me, I felt very proud of myself. I was like, wow, so I can really, really thrive in this field. I can do a lot in terms of mentorship and training. And then later on decided to open a YouTube channel where we'll do tutorials in chemistry, physics, and math. Which went well, but the subscription levels weren't really there. It's really a process when you're starting a YouTube channel and you really want to grow it and expand it. It always takes time. So yeah, that's how we started, and things didn't really go like we wanted them in terms of numbers, but the passion is what kept on driving us. So yeah, we continued doing our part, training people, offering tutorials, writing inspirational blogs, like giving opinions on STEM. And then that's how most of the young ones in that school, started liking what we were doing, started writing about us, started posting about us, and started telling people about what we were doing. And then from there, we started an organization known as the Science Exploration Zambia that was birthed in 2019 on the 1st of January. So what we've been doing basically is we have been advocating for science, doing training and mentorship, offering a whole lot of stuff that could actually change the perception of a learner in terms of how they look at STEM. Because my belief is that most people do not really get to know why they should be doing courses like engineering. They don't really know the importance of engineering. They really don't know the importance of us having engineers. But it is because of STEM education. If we spearhead the education of STEM, we will have a lot of creatives coming from our own schools, rather than looking outside. I find it funny sometimes when companies want to develop certain systems. Instead of companies looking at their local engineers, they tend to look outside. They outsource people that can work on those particular projects. And the reason is not because they don't like the citizens, or maybe they just want to pick from the outside. The reason is because the levels of efficiency and competency. So what you realize is that if the foundation is built strong, we will have a lot of people coming from the ranks to come and do massive things for Africa and for our countries.
I appreciate what you said, especially, well, first of all, rather, I can hear how you are passionate about it. And I fully agree with you that, STEM education is so important because, like you said, for you didn't know that there were fields such as the tech space because it wasn't a visible career for you. So having people like yourself pushing this and showing other youngsters that, hey, these things are actually out there, it's really, really, really important. So you mentioned that you when you started this program, the science exploration program, you had this YouTube channel. You said that the numbers were not as you had hoped. What do you think was it? Was it the lack of access to people in terms of internet, or was it just people were not that interested into moving into that type of space, and where you have to now focus more onto these other avenues, be it the blogs or whatnot? What do you think that is the case?
So normally the case with numbers in terms of YouTube, especially in my country and what I have observed in Africa, is that mostly numbers on YouTube only come from entertainment, entertainment industry, things like songs, African rappers and singers actually do get a lot of numbers when it comes to YouTube. But I feel the problem with, like doing something good and something creative, something educative is that, people don't really have the knowledge. That's where the problem starts. If people were knowledgeable about what STEM is today, I bet every student would be on their phone or on their laptop doing the right thing, reading about engineering, reading about science, reading about technology, and reading about the mathematics. So there's this thing that MIT does, MIT developed Scratch. So Scratch is a programming language that enables kids to drag blocks. And then in the process of dragging blocks, these kids are able to create things like puzzles and games. So what you realize there is that these are STEM disciplines being instilled in young ones. They're being taught to solve simple problems while they're young, and then they will only grow to develop more problems, you see. So I feel the reason why we have problems with numbers is because people have not seen the beauty of STEM. They've not seen a Zambian or an African do something great, something big, like develop a powerful app that everyone is going to be looking at and saying, wow, this was developed by an African. So the foundation of our education systems have been a problem. And that's my analysis. I think the foundations of our education system has been poor. If you look at these other courses like the business courses, people do well because business courses do not require as much practical work as STEM fields do. And, for you to thrive in STEM, or for us to have a revolution, industry has to see people, their knowledge, people solving problems by developing creative things, innovative things. We have to subject them to a good, solid foundation. That's one thing that has been lacking in our continent. We've not really subjected people to the right things. And our curriculums as well, I'll talk about a lot of things, and these are things that I look at and say, before we even look at how we move, we are supposed to align our curriculums with what we want to achieve as a nation. For how long are we going to continue outsourcing technology? We need to reach a point where we also do our own technology. We need to reach a point where we do incredible things on our own as well. We have the potential to do that. We have people that can do that. So, and also we have a lot of organizations, youths, and a lot of young ones that are doing incredible things, but they lack the proper funding. I'm going to give an example, and this is me showing bias. I love advocacy. I love youths that are doing great things, but I have seen youths that would literally stand on a platform and speak for girls, girls' rights. And they'll get a lot of funding, they'll get a lot of money, and people will have them, people will give them funding, they'll give them platforms, and, they'll be known for just standing up and speaking. Imagine people you and me and a whole lot of people that are speaking about STEM. And we are the ones that get the lesser attention. And for me, this is not really a complaint, but this is something that I look at and say, this is a mindset that we really need to change. People are willing to advocate for STEM and change the narrative, but they do not have the absolute support and backing that other people get for just talking about, things like feminism and a whole lot of things. This STEM advocacy and agenda, we would see a transformation, because a transformation in STEM is a transformation for Africa and the world at large, because today the world evolves around science and technology.
Technology. No, I agree with you. And I also believe at the same time that these things take time. So the work, like you said, the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing, the work of all the other people who are pushing the agenda of science and in these various different spaces, that's why it's so important. That's why we cannot stop, because little by little, somebody is noticing, somebody is seeing. I mean, of course, until we have our own African Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or our own billionaire, that's when, of course, the attention will be here. But, there are Africans who are solving African problems, who are doing the work. It's just, like you said, it's a pity. I think sort of it goes back down to sort of marketing. I don't know if you would agree with that, in terms of how scientists get, because I also firmly believe that sometimes science gets marketed in a very boring, very, oh my word, it's only for smart people, and scientists do science for scientists, and when at the center of it, it's meant to be science for the people. So I think, I don't know, maybe rather let me ask, so do you think maybe we just need to market the science better, and then we can get more people to be interested, and the funding and all of that? Do you think then that would come from the governments as well?
Yeah, I think the marketing, to be honest, the marketing, I feel science in itself has marketed itself well, because today, if you look at the internet, like what you and me are doing right now is actually as a result of technology and science. 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, this wasn't going to be possible. You and me recording that's going to be heard by almost if possible, if you say the marketing part, I think it's done that for itself. But now the problem would be on my end to say, we have not really trusted people with the ideas, especially in our countries, globally, especially for people in the West. This is actually a norm for them. They're actually doing very well. But I think for us in countries especially for us in Africa, we've not really embraced science like we should be doing. We've believed in the process of outsourcing technology, and we're just comfortable with the fact that, okay, we'll be able to get technology from the outside. We will be able to maybe hire these particular engineers for them to do this project for us. But what we need is Africa where our engineers will be able to do a whole lot. Our tech guys will be able to do a whole lot. So I feel we can do a lot. And on the marketing part, just like I've put it, science has already marketed itself very well. But I think the issue is with us trusting ourselves. We've not really trusted ourselves. We've not really created a platform for our young ones to thrive, young ones with ideas. A lot of Africans, especially young Africans, have got brilliant ideas that can bring about a massive revolution and transformation in this continent. But we've not really entrusted them with what we should be calling proper support system. We need to support our youths. We need to give them the funding that they need. Yeah. Let them fail on their own. Don't just assume things and say, no, they will fail, because why not get from America? Or maybe why not get from China? Something that's already built. Why should we try people and experiment? But, you have to try and experiment on your own sometimes, because if we are not going to try, then we will never be Africa that we want to see. The Africa that we believe we are, because we say Africa is great. Africa has got the best. But when are we going to start unveiling what we call the best? We'll only unveil what we call the best if we trust them with if we give them the confidence, if we, pitch, we pitch them, we connect them to people that can support their ideas. Some of these ideas, it's so surprising that some of these ideas come from Africa. And this is not about, talking more about Africa, but this is something that's a reality today. So we need to believe in our young ones. We need to believe in ourselves and say, we also can reach those heights. We can produce like America. We can produce like China. We can do, we can also develop our own programming languages. We can also develop systems and apps that can bring about a revolution in our country. The healthcare system, those healthcare systems need a proper application system that will reduce the stress, having to call maybe an ambulance, having to do this, having to do that. You just use an app easily. I've seen such things being implemented in certain countries, also maybe in our country as well, but on small basis. We need that to be wide. We need a whole lot of improvements, and that will only come through STEM. These are just facts, and this is not a bias on STEM, but everything evolves around STEM, because whatever is happening today is because of science and technology. And these are main components of STEM.
Yeah.
And the mathematics.
Speaking of platforms and the youth having being given a chance to do things, you actually have one. You have an e-learning platform which you developed for learners in your country. So can you tell us more about that and what exactly you do? What we have is known as the SAYS e-learning platform. It's a website that has e-learning materials. It has materials on it. So learners can be able to access past papers and books. So we have materials for grade 7, grade 9, and grade 12. The reason why is because the grades that are in the exam are looking out for. So we also have grade 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this is a platform that enables STEM learners to source materials that will enable them to thrive in their careers. Especially, these are materials that will give them a passion as well to pursue careers in STEM. Because, you find the best physics books, you find the best chemistry books, the best mathematics books, and the best biology book. As well, what we have are blog posts. So blog posts, basically, it's an e-learning platform that has inspirational stuff for stress. But stress also leads to depression sometimes. And blog posts, these are blog posts that can be of help to that learner. It's okay to be stressed, but listen, this is how I worked it out when I was in school. So we get to explain all that, and then there is what we call SAYS podcast. So we have what we call the Science Advancement and the High School Hub. So on the High School Hub, this is just a podcast that is hosted by one of our female members, where we just get to talk about the high school life, the high school experience, and how you can just become a hard worker at school, how you can do massively well at school. And we also have what is known as the Science Advancements, a podcast which comes weekly. Comes weekly, but sometimes due to circumstances, maybe after 3 weeks, after a month, where we talk about advancements in science. So we look at the engineering sector of our country, the Africa's engineering sector, how we can do better and how we can grow as a continent. We talk about a whole lot of stuff, but these are podcasts that can build someone, podcasts that can change the narrative of someone in terms of how they look at science. We have different hosts from America, around the globe, people all over the world just coming on our podcast and having to give their say. So that's what we do. These are YouTube recorded podcasts that are available on our YouTube channel. So that's what we do. So the platform is inclusive of podcasts, materials, inspirational blog posts, and a whole lot to do with what the Science Exploration Zambia is all about and the agenda that we have. Also, we have what we call, there is a scholarship fund that we actually started last year. It's called the Rita Miselo SAYS Excellence Scholarship. So basically the scholarship was named after this brilliant young girl, and we wanted to
we named it because we want to inspire a lot of female, let me say, the girl child in the STEM spaces, in STEM fields, because there's another to say girls can't thrive in the STEM fields. Girls can't write codes. So the reason why we brought this scholarship fund is to champion the talk that girls can't really be competent in these fields. But at the same time, it is a scholarship fund that also supports the boy child. But, to just put emphasis and say, any person can thrive in the STEM fields, we decided to name it under someone who's a girl, someone who's female, and just to bring about gender balance and say we believe all gender can thrive in any particular field. Gender doesn't matter when it comes to STEM, because we saw people in history like defying odds and winning chemistry and physics. So it is possible for the girl child to also thrive in these spaces of STEM. So that's what we do. So the scholarship, we had two people sponsored. One is at a basic and the other one is at a secondary school, at a STEM-based boarding secondary school. So we are praying and hoping that a lot of people get to jump on this project so that we can have a whole lot of pupils getting that, education in a STEM environment, which enable them to be competent future in Zambia, but Africa at large.
Wow, what an amazing work that you and your team are doing. This is absolutely fantastic. And I love how it's got various different ways where it can sort of attract different people for different things, the scholarship, the podcast, the learning material. What a wide scope. Congratulations on that. And oh my goodness, kudos on your work. I'm going to put the links to your podcast and to your e-learning platform so that if somebody is listening, they can go and check it out and see the amazing work that you're doing. But if you don't mind, if you have social media pages or anywhere else where people can follow, can you just tell us about it?
Yeah, so we have what is called Science Exploration Zambia. It's a Facebook page. Also on YouTube, you can just search for Science Exploration Zambia, and you will be able to find a lot of content there, podcasts, and we have a website, e-learning platform inclusive, but currently it's being updated. So the link that's running right now is sort of a link that I really can't pronounce while we're on Webflow. So the link is sort of long, but I can be able to forward you the link,
sure,
and
you'll
be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, the certain updates that we're making. So we're not using the www.scienceexplorationzambia.org. So there's another link that we are using while working on certain features that you keep on building and you keep on improving your platform so as to have more people coming on board. And also on Instagram, it's you can also find us on Instagram, Science Exploration Zambia. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'll share all of that. So Caleb, as we wrap up and all of this amazing work that you do and all of this, your passion and your enthusiasm for science, what advice or what little parting words would you like to leave the people who are listening and anybody else who's inspired or loves science as much as you do?
What I would say is, not even the sky is the limit for those that are determined. I always tell people that the world is only receptive to those that are willing to change it. It will only become receptive if you try to change it. It will never be receptive if you're seated there watching and saying, okay, how do I bring about change? So transformation only comes when you make a step. And one of the ways of making a step is believing in yourself. Because if you look at what we are doing at SAYS, you think and say, wow, maybe these guys are funded, maybe these guys have a whole lot of money. But sometimes when you are passionate, sometimes money doesn't even matter. And I have seen that before because, we've we've worked out certain things, and I've just looked at myself and I'm like, wow, how have we done this? But we don't really have the finances to do this. So sometimes it's a passion that drives you. It's a passion that keeps you moving. Even while you're doing your degree, your college degree, maybe in engineering, and you're not subjected to that practical environment that you would want, just keep believing, keep learning, keep doing a lot of research, and a lot of things will just unfold, and you will be shocked to say, how am I able to do what I am doing? Read a lot, do a lot of research. I would advise that you follow people like, Elon Musk. Personally, he's a guy that really inspires me. And I just look at him and say, how did this guy do? Like, how? And this is a guy that just, he has the ideas, and he's employed people that work for him, people that have got the skill. So sometimes what you have in your head is more powerful than how you are going to apply it. Sometimes you just need to assemble a team of people that are going to believe in what you're saying, and you guys are going to be able to implement whatever you want to implement. So that's what I would say. And in terms of studies, just, keep grinding, keep believing, keep studying hard. It might be hard today. I'm also a student right now, so I wouldn't really be the best to give that advice, but I'm also a student. I believe in working hard. I just study, and I look forward to tomorrow and say, tomorrow is going to be okay. So for those that keep pushing, and for those that are making efforts, trust me, tomorrow is always going to be better. Tomorrow is not only going to be better if you are seated and not doing anything, then definitely how is tomorrow going to be better? But there is hope for those that are pushing today, for those that are striving hard, for those that are doing everything in their power to just make change and see things change. Like, we have to move away from this narrative of saying, no, these guys are the only ones that are superior. These guys are the only ones that can do it. We can also do it, but only if we believe in ourselves more. And I believe we are headed for glory as a continent and as a people.
Yes, I firmly. What a powerful way to end it. We are headed for glory, and I'm so excited for your work specifically, and your vision, the work that you intend to do, which is really exciting. And also, I'm excited about the vision that you have for Africa as a whole in terms of where we can go to. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to me and telling me about what you do and everything that you're passionate about. I really, really appreciate it.
I must be saying thank you, because it's a privilege for me to be actually hosted on such a platform, and just, being allowed to, express myself like I should. I'm really, really grateful, and hopefully I look forward to, doing more work with you, because I really love what you're doing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Love your energy, Caleb, and show. And even for me, I have a very big vision for this podcast. So one day when we get to that international stage, you'll come back on and we'll continue catching up starting from the bottom. And to everybody else who's tuned in, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Until next time, bye.